Hi, this is Sam from Shaolin-Do. Today we're going to be going over Sparring 101. Sparring obviously is a multi-person activity, but there's a lot that you need to work on in yourself before you can really start thinking about another person being involved, or thinking about what's happening in the external situation. First, you have to kind of set your internal state through your stance, through your awareness, through your eyes and breathing. Everything needs to be set within yourself first, so that's why this is a good practice for an online video like this. So first, let's go over the basic sparring stance. We're going to turn sideways, facing our opponent, a bladed sideways stance. We're going to spread the legs out fairly, kind of like broader than shoulder width. So say like this wide. And then we're going to bend our knees, sink into the ground. We want to lift up our front shoulder to protect our jawline a little bit. You don't want to have your chin exposed, jaw exposed. This is a very vulnerable area. So you tuck the chin in, lift the shoulder a little bit, and lift this front hand up to kind of aim at your opponent. So backhand can be up also, or it can be here to float around up or down. So this is kind of our basic stance. You can think about the shoulder, if a strike were coming into your face, you want to almost be able to roll the shoulder up to protect your face. So like kind of be keeping we don't want to just have the shoulder totally dropped. Let the shoulder stay up a little bit and active and connected into the front fist. So from the side, that looks like this. Backhand flow. Let's try the other side. Left foot forward. So we get our nice wide stance. We face forward. Our left hand is now the front hand. It's not in like right by our faces like this. It's more or less out, almost pointed toward our opponent. As a strike comes in, we'll still be able to intercept the strike from out here. And if we take a strike on it, it won't be knocking us back in our own head. So now left arm is forward. Chin is tucked in and down. Front shoulder lifts a little bit, and the front fist is more or less pointed out. Okay, so from this stance, first thing we need to think about is shuffling, moving around, how you move in this stance. What you do not do in this stance, if you need to come forward, you don't come up out of the stance, stepping up, and then, step back into the stance. You want to try to maintain this stance while you're moving. So how you do this is by shuffling. So I'm going to turn to the side so you can see. Rather than thinking step up, step out, step up, step out, I want you to think more of pick up the back foot, shuffle in. And you can, on the way back, if you're going backwards, you pick up the front foot, hop the back foot back. So shuffle like this back and forth a few times. The idea is that you're keeping your center of gravity in the center rather than lifting it, bringing it over one leg, bringing it back over the back leg. You're keeping your center of gravity in the center, and the legs are just changing their position in space. So practice shuffling forward and back on one side. And then turn, face the other side. Set up your stance and practice your shuffle. Forward, back. Okay, another way you can think about, another part of shuffling that you need to think about is as your opponent turns, you need to turn with them without getting all crossed up and again, kind of losing your root. So from the sparring stance, pretend that you're like holding a staff that's connecting straight down to the ground. And I want you to shuffle around, keeping the front fist fist in place, and then you can shuffle backwards around, keeping that fist in place. So imagine this is your opponent on the other side of the fist. You're looking straight at your opponent, and they move around, and you move all the way around, keeping the fist aimed right at your opponent. And still shuffle. Other side. Set out your front hand, connect into your sparring stance, and then think shuffle around to one side, shuffle around to the other. Trying to keep your weight in the center, keeping your opponent right in front of that fist. Okay, so that was our footwork. So now let's add some striking from a sparring stance. I'm going to do these turn sideways. So front hand, palm up punch is going to be your go-to. This is just basically like a jab. It's not a super powerful punch, but this is the one that you just keep sending out, kind of like the range finder. And we call it a stopping punch. The idea is, while it's not super powerful, if you see your opponent look like they're about to start doing something, you just keep throwing this jab to the face, and it just kind of disrupts their plans. So we're going to do 10 jabs with the front hand. First though, I want you to think back foot pushes into the ground. I'm connected down my back foot and out through the front hand. A way to think about this would be if I put my hand on the back wall, I push into the wall and it pushes into my back foot. So I'm pushing into the wall, my back foot is pushing into the ground. So you want to feel that connection between fist and foot. So here we go. Let's do 10 jabs with the front hand, 10 stopping punches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Turn to the other side. Set up your sparring stance. Remember, loose, 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 and then everything is tight right at the end of the jab. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay? Backhand. So we throw the front hand jab. The backhand, we can't just throw it out. We have to turn the back hip coming up onto the back ball of the foot. So, just depending on how your stance is. You may be able to push the leg, just push the leg straight forward, but either way you need to get this hip forward. So front hand jabs out, back hip turns. Already you can see my hand is moving forward. I'm not moving the arm at all. And then I accentuate that by punching out, palm down with the back hand. So it's front hand, back hand. Let's do 10 of those. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Focus the strikes as strong as you can. Make them stronger and more precise each time. 10 on the other side. Get your sparring stance set up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay? Now, let's talk about blocking. So our main block from a sparring stance is to pull back, lift the front leg and the front arm. Your forearm and your shin are basically like the shield of the body. There's nothing super vulnerable in this area, and over time, with conditioning, these parts of the body can become very hard and strong and will able to not only withstand strikes, but to actively kind of hurt other people's strike, or hurt their arms when they try to strike you, because your arms and shins can get so hard. So all this is from the sparring stance, we pull back and lift the back leg, bringing all our weight onto the back leg. Kind of like a cat stance, except the knee is in the air and we have a shield. This is called the four corners block or four corners defense. Super basic. You see a strike coming in, you pull back, you lift up your shield, possibly you block a strike, in which case you're set up to kick underneath, or possibly you block a kick with your leg, in which case you're able to strike over. So we're going to pull back from a sparring stance to a four corners block 10 times. 1. Back down with control. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. Other side. 1. Back down with control. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. And 10. Final thing you need to think about for sparring, for setting up your own internal situation, is breathing. Most people, I see it all the time when they first start sparring, because so much is going on, often people kind of become overwhelmed. They kind of enter into this fight or flight scenario. The breathing becomes erratic or basically non-existent. People are holding their breath, they're holding all of this tension up here. You need to think about being sunk, being grounded into the ground, and remaining calm and breathing, kind of like the eye of the storm, while everything else around it is in chaos. You in yourself are focused, grounded, calm, and breathing. So come into your sparring stance, and I want you to take 5 deep breaths. With each exhale, sink. Feel your feet sink into the ground. 2. 3. 4. 5. Okay, so that's it. That's the basics for setting up your personal sparring practice. From there, everything becomes about learning combinations or learning timing and distance with another person. But this is everything that you need to set yourself upright for successful sparring. Thank you.